I posted Aaron Carter's birth chart on a channel that was dedicated to posting his lives on like Instagram and TikTok and Bigo, I think. I can't really tell them apart, to be honest. But a channel just recycled his lives, lurked in his lives, posted his lives on YouTube, and I would watch them since like December 2021, and I was clearly late to the party. I don't know how I stumbled across it. Like I have no clue because I've not really been a fan of him. It must have been an algorithm thing. I definitely didn't seek it out. I'm not quite sure what happened. But anywho, so or maybe something popped up. I honestly do not know how I got inside of the Aaron Carter debacle. And knowing his lives, it's not like he was headlining or anything or going viral or anything. So I don't know how I found out, but it was most likely recommended because I would never seek it out. And I do watch a lot of YouTube stuff where they post lives of a lot of drama. So maybe there it happened. I don't know, but I posted his birth chart. Well, the text analysis, my text analysis of his birth chart that was on Astro Theme. This was 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago, and he passed a few months ago, I think. I can't even remember. But it was way before he passed, because I had nothing to say after he passed other than, wow, I don't know. But it was way before he passed. And because the person who uploaded the channel was unrelenting and very critical, but in a comedic way. And I mean, it's really, you can't be critical of someone's lives if they're not posting their lives. He posted his lives of him doing all sorts of questionable things, saying unquestionable things, and not being sober while doing unquestionable things and saying unquestionable things about questionable things. So you can't completely feel bad because he provided all of the fodder for people to ridicule. They would lurk in his lives and then post it. Silently lurk, post it. He probably wouldn't keep it, but that person already screen recorded everything, and then they post it on YouTube. Like he fought on camera. Well, argued on camera with a lot of people. Wannabe rappers, struggle rappers, wannabe influencers, creepy fans, or people just in his life wanting to, because he would bring people up, like a duet or things, and have like a panel, like Instagram. He let people join the live and stuff, and some of them are trolls or critics, not actual critics, but critical, and they would literally argue with him, or he'd argue with them. And I remember he would like snap his fingers when he blocked them, and he would go done, like something like that, and just like block people. And I just don't. And then he'd be on there with raccoon eyes and sometimes inebriated. And this is not to insult him; it's just to give a background on his lives. And I have to like whisper. But anyway, so I put up his birth chart, and when I read his birth chart months after I discovered his these channels and like rediscovered Aaron Carter. I'm a younger millennial, So I grew up with the girls that he might have collaborated with, if you will, like Lizzie McGuire and Lindsay Lohan and all of them. I grew up in the early 2000s. And so I know him, but I wasn't a fan or anything. And then somehow, like 2 years ago, but I had to pause the video for a second because some idiot was blaring his speakers, and I literally cannot hear myself talk. It was the bass was like shaking my windows. It's so fucking retarded, and I think people like that should get ticketed. But anyhow, so somehow I just got back into the Aaron Carter thing, and apparently he had been like doing insane, interesting things all these years, and so I just decided, the videos criticizing him and posting his lives got more attention than his actual lives. And so I decided to put his birth chart up, with a description, and the uploader commented. Didn't really get the message that I was putting out, just adamant to be critical of him. I don't know if they were monetized or not, but they certainly had a platform. They amassed a couple thousand subscribers, and all their content was about Aaron or the women he was with. So, but anywho, so I when I looked at his birth chart, I knew he had really no chance from the beginning. And I've always low key, even though Aaron and I are total opposites, as far as life, he's like I suppose, rich white male celebrity, and I'm neither of those. However, I related to his family dynamics, not the sexual abuse or anything like that, thankfully, but the dynamics of just being a younger sibling. I think he's like the middle child, perhaps, as am I, and just having toxic relationships with your siblings, especially older siblings, and mother, and so I always related to that, and I always silently watched the chaos that he provided. This is not stuff that was doxed or investigated. He literally went live like 24/7. And I just think it's interesting that no one knew that, because when people are commenting on his Instagram, his brother's Instagram, I guess little interviews, if they're celebrities, or just social media after he died, saying, "Oh, I don't know what happened. He was so sweet." And I'm like, but meanwhile, videos and press about him literally publicized himself. He publicized what was wrong with him. Everyone, I might not have seen this coming, but they weren't shocked when it came. And I'm like, if you're such a fan, why didn't you know any of this? But his birth chart, his birth chart has midheaven in Libra, and every horoscope sign has 30 aspects or 30 degrees as they transition to the next sign, an astrological cycle of 360 degrees, because every cycle technically has 360 degrees in a theoretical sense, but astrology literally has 360 degrees. It has 12 horoscope signs and 30 transitions of each. His particular degree of Libra, I'm not reading it verbatim, but I already know the degree, and it basically says that the person is abandoned as a kid and left on their own devices. They therefore become evil, wicked, morally corrupt, and might need psychological help. Like, that's literally what it says. And Zoe Kravitz has it as well. but as I think a rising sign. And his moon is in Cancer, unfortunately. His degree states that he doesn't have the devices to be an adult and to be responsible. So he's left on his own to take care of himself, but he cannot take care of himself. And yet his general life path is Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is the energy, not the people. The energy of Sagittarius says that someone doesn't see the small details, only the big picture. So this guy will go through life not even realizing that he's been abandoned and doesn't have the devices to take care of himself. So there will be maybe prideful, or obtuse, or deluded, confused, scared, denial of facts, and refusal of constructive criticism, or the inability to intellectualize it as such naturally. And when I saw his birth chart, I was like, oh, this guy has really had no chance. Because he's a Sagittarius, if they're raised right, that wild horse mentality and spirit will turn into a noble steed, a brave stallion, or a successful person, a nice person. But if they're not raised right, they'll turn into a wild horse and they'll need to be put down, or they'll die in battle. They'll be a person who meets unfortunate incidents, pretty much. And so you can find it on Astro Theme. However, this birth chart that I saw was way before he went, like maybe a couple months. And for me, that's like way before, because so much can happen in a couple of months. So Astro Theme, they have scores based on credibility of the birth charts. Sometimes they just have dupe samples where they're just showing how a birth chart works, but they use a default time of 12 p.m. or a guessed time based on how they perceive someone. So they just give them a birth chart, but the score is XDC, meaning X means that there was never like a source at all. D means there's a source, but they don't trust it. C means that they just guess the time, and because they heard it somewhere, but it's not verified. And then there's like A, if the person said it, and then AA, if they actually got a birth certificate or ID card or something, or the person posted it, or if it's like an exact time. I can't remember if there's a B. But anywho, so I didn't look at any of that back then. It might have changed after, like posthumously, or after his death, because they actually might have got his birth certificate. So it might have changed later, but the one that I saw just last year, well, I can't remember when he passed. Let me see. Oh, November. Okay, almost a year ago. So yeah, last year must have been maybe a whole year ago that I saw that birth chart. It could have changed later. But anywho, so yeah, that's what his birth chart says. To go look at it. I'm not gonna describe the whole thing. Those are the ones that stand out the most to me. There's other stuff on the back end. Doesn't really matter at this point. But back then, I really needed to look at his birth chart and see what is up with this guy. And then he would, argue with fans. And my thing is, I was sad when he went. Not like out of guilt. I think a lot of people were guilty. And because they made fun of him, yelled at him,